And we'll welcome Loïc Lemeur, my friend from Leaders. Loïc is going to talk to us about improving ourselves.
How are you doing?
I'm well.
You're going to have to deal with some French accent now. Thank you, Jason, for inviting me. Let's see. I invest in about, let me be in the pace of this conference. I invest in about 50 startups, not 150, including LinkedIn as an angel or Evernote or Lending Club. I started about 6 startups, and I've been here in San Francisco for 11 years. And, you know, when I was younger, I wouldn't say young because I think I'm not too young, I was reading books like this, which say, timeless advice from an angel investor who turned 100,000 into 100 million. You know, and I was dreaming. I was like, wow, you know, I want to be Jason. And so, I mean, I don't know if you have had this feeling, but I was in France at the time, and I wanted to really succeed. I was born in a village of south of France, and I was like, yeah, take the photo with Jason's book, thank you. And I really wanted to succeed, so I followed what my parents said, which was, you need to go to great schools, colleges, which I did, you know, in France, of course. That was not like to the US scale yet. And then, you know, I started my own company when I was 23 because I felt that was, you know, the thing to do. And more, you know, I sold it, and I sold another one. I started a conference called The Web, which became one of the largest tech conference at the time in Europe. We were even like friends and talking at each other's conferences with Jason. And then I started investing. And what's the end of this is a risk I'm taking today, because I thought, okay, well, here's Jason inviting me to speak at a conference about scaling and growth. And so the easy thing to do would be to take one of the products I've launched or I've invested in and tell you how I did it and a few lessons I learned. But honestly, Josh Hellman did it much better. And by the way, I just launched my new startup yesterday night, but you know, it's not what I'm going to talk about. It's written here if you want to check it out. But what I want to talk about here today, because it's fun, is to take a little more risk and be very personal. And this is why I have no slides. Wow, that's a lot of me on stage. But it's more about personal growth. How about if you are the product? How about, you know, how about you? How about stopping this or pausing from this crazy, you need to succeed, turn 100,000 into 100 million, make more money, and pause? So what is success? What is happiness? What is it? It hit me when I was 40, so I guess this is not, I'm 45 now. So I guess this is not it's real that there is something happening in some men's heads at 40. But what happened to me was, wait. I have 3 kids, I have a family, it's amazing. I have invested in these companies, I made some money. What am I doing? And I paused and I went to a meditation retreat for 10 days. And that's what I want to share a little bit about. Not lessons, just sharing a little stories that I went through. And who's done a 10-day retreat? Vipassana? Yes. Great. So that's what I did. Who meditates every day? Great. So just so you know, just 5 years ago, I would say this is total bullshit. I had absolutely no interest. I would have probably actually left the room if someone was like giving a talk like I'm doing now. And I went and I paused and I went to one of those Vipassana retreats. It's totally opposite to so many things we just live with as granted, which is first this, so it's dhamma.org if you want to check it out. It's free. It's donation-based only. So you cannot pay for it. You go and you're put in a charity position yourself, regardless of how much you have or how successful you are, because everything is given to you. So I went to Norfolk, which is a 3-hour drive in, it's the exact center of California, between, if you draw lines from, you know, it's the exact geographical center. And you arrive there, and no eye contact for 10 days. It looks like nothing, but I don't know if you have tried having dinner in front of a wall or with a hat. That's how I had dinner for 10 days, like basically looking at a wall. It does a lot of things to you. Try just take an elevator or lift, whatever, if you're British or American, and just when you know everybody's facing the door, just turn the other side and face everybody. You'll see, you'll feel a little weird. So you get no eye contact. Of course, my iPhone, you go there and all your devices stay in the car. You know, the first 3 hours, you're looking for your phone everywhere. 10 days, no iPad, no iPhone, no email, nothing. All I gave them was a cell phone in case of emergency, you know, for me, just could come and get me. This is what you call. And then 8-hour-a-day meditation. And more. There is also, everything is near vegan and fasting. I'll talk about that later. I'm just out of a 7-day water fast. So I'm trying a lot. So think about what Josh is telling you about the product. I'm thinking about iterating on myself right now and just testing things. So it's the same, but you know, I'm trying to look at myself as the product. So anyway, this was amazing. If you have not done it, I highly, highly recommend it. The first thing it does is after 3 days, you know when you have mud in water and it's not clear, it took 3 days for my brain to settle down, so all that mud comes to the bottom and it becomes clear. And so at any particular moment, right now you're probably thinking about 50 things, you know, your investments and your family and your own startup and all those things. If you just shut down to take a computer analogy, the input and the output, that's what you do there. There is nothing coming in. All you see is trees. Beautiful, by the way. They are in Yosemite, amazing. And then there is nothing coming out. They don't let you take notes. They don't let you take a book, so nothing in, nothing out. I was reading the toilet paper brands. Like, that's all I had left. A shampoo bottle. You know, after 6 days, you look, and you're like, where is that shampoo made? How is it made? You know, you read, like, there's nothing left to read, so that's all you have. You know, and that's become very, very interesting. After those 3 days, your brain becomes so clear that the important things start to appear. You have the best dreams of your life. I had the best dreams of my life, the worst nightmares also. Your brain gets into a totally different state, and a lot of things seem unimportant, like number of followers. That seems totally unimportant. Like eating, like money. So when I say you put in a charity position, you cannot pay for it. You only pay at the end with a donation of your choice if you feel it was worth it. And it's very interesting that you are put in a state where you don't know, they ask you to not wear any branding, unlike what I'm doing now. They ask you to be just, you know, like everybody else. And it's very interesting to be put in an environment where there is no hierarchy, there is no how successful are you or not. That changed me entirely, I would say a lot. And since then, I've been meditating every single day, every morning, for now 10 to 20 minutes. They recommend 2 hours a day. I thought that was a little much, but when you've done 8 hours a day for 10 days, believe it or not, it's actually very easy to do 2 hours a day or an hour a day. Now I do 10 to 20 minutes, and you wouldn't be, for those of you who meditate, you know what I'm talking about, but the ideas you get by just stopping everything, pausing and getting out of the system, it's really amazing. So that's one of the things I wanted to share with you in terms of personal growth and scaling yourself, which is a very difficult topic because you don't want to, it's difficult to talk about, it's very personal. The second one I've done is I've read a book, which is The Artist's Way from Julia Cameron. Highly, highly recommend it. And she has a smaller book that is also a chapter of that book, which is The Art of Morning Pages. Who's read that? Good, I'm sharing something that not everybody knows here, 4 or 5. And the same thing I started 4 years ago is, I know this looks like teenager-ish, but just journaling. Every single day, I wake up and I write in a journal. And the rule is, there is no rule, but the rule is really you write whatever comes from your mind. No filter. You don't try, this is just for yourself. No one reads it. So you just write. You wake up, she actually advises you should do it even before meditation. So you wake up and you just write whatever comes to your mind. Anything, no filter, absolutely anything, just for yourself. I've been doing that for 4 years, and the benefits are amazing. I know it might sound, again, 5 years ago, I would have looked at someone giving a talk like this as, you know, like, can we talk about investment or, you know, success? And this is amazing because it gives you a mirror on yourself. It's very similar to meditation, very similar to therapy, which I've done 4 years of as well. And it gives you, first, it gives you an access to your own mind. So now I can go back 2 years ago and tell you exactly what I was thinking and how I felt day by day, which is really, really amazing. For example, I 2 years ago started writing that I had to start a new startup very regularly. And you cannot avoid your own thoughts. You can see patterns. Let's say you drink a little too much wine, which for French people never happens. If you write this, you know, every single day or 3 times a week, it will come back. And you will start cutting down on it because it's yourself reminding you about that. And so what came back to me was I was a somewhat successful angel investor, and I didn't have to start something new. Is that I really wanted to start something new, and I could understand also why, just because I really like starting products and building products. So I did that, and I also highly recommend that practice. It's really good, gives you a lot of ideas. Again, meditation, morning notes, and therapy are all the same. They're like taking some distance between yourself and what you're doing, getting out of a system of success, fame, email newsletters, followers, all of that. House, second house, third house, private jet. Just add Trump. Is probably the best example of like the never-ending. I think he really needs a 10-day meditation. Anyway, it will not happen. So another thing I've tried into like trying to hack myself or iterate on myself is fasting. So that's also trending in Silicon Valley. So I got that. I had to try that. So I've read a story. It's the New York Times, so it's a little fake, but about the benefits of fasting to your to resetting your entire immunity. Sorry, I have a word lacking. The immune system. So you reset it by just basically forcing your body. I'm absolutely not knowledgeable in this, but you force your body to basically get rid of all the old and rebuild your immune system. And I've tried that just not to lose weight. I don't, I think I really need to lose weight, but I tried to see how I felt. So I did intermittent fasting. So basically you can only have lunch and dinner, then nothing, and then you can push it a little bit and only have dinner. So I did that for a week, just dinner, only dinner, and zero, nothing else in between the two dinners. So you have dinner at 8, and then you do a 22-hour fast, and then you have another dinner. And that went really great, just very low, sometimes during the day, points twice a day, 3 times a day, no more. And then it's like meditation. You just observe your body being hungry. Oh, I'm hungry. And then you're less hungry. It doesn't last. Like it's 5 minutes. And so it went well. So I did a 3-day total water fast. And I felt amazing. So I did another one. And then finally, 2 weeks ago, I did a 7-day water fast, just water. And I was kite surfing all the weekend on a 6-day fast. I was kite surfing under the Golden Gate Bridge. And I've read about this. It's really amazing. All the energy that you don't use to process food is available. So you're actually full of energy, and it's really amazing. I'm not a doctor. I'm not recommending you do this. Talk to your doctor. But for me, it went amazing. I did a whole test at forward, the blood test and everything after. And I was actually in a better shape. And as you can see, I have some energy. I feel really good about it. So those are the little things. I would end now with a connection to business, so back to business. It gave me a lot of ideas I think I would have never had. It gave me a ton of energy. And one thing that came out of the morning notes, that because you cannot really lie to yourself. It's really tough to lie to yourself. I started a personal newsletter that I try to write every week, but it's more like every 2 weeks. And this, it's very personal. It's like this, right? It's like what I would tell you if we had lunch, It's not trying to sell you something. It's not trying to make myself look better than it is. And it went from 0 to 35,000 subscribers in 2 years with a 40% open rate. So back to numbers. It scaled much more than I thought. That is the most important thing I've done in the last 2 years that came from my morning notes. It's basically me taking notes and sharing them with people. And I highly recommend you do it also, because it's amazing what we all learn. We all learn something. If you share it, you will find someone that will be interested in it. As long as it's honest and it's you, it will be successful. And then it's super helpful. And I'm done, I'm out of time. It's very helpful for your business because each time you need something, people want to help you back. So I give you an example, and I'll end on this note. I've been sharing a lot for years, but especially in this email newsletter. And so the pitch is last, of course. But my service is about finding and helping great new talent, great people. And so I start by providing speaking opportunities to those new talent and existing talent. So it's a marketplace for speaking, because I just love it. I invited about 2,000 people to speak over 10 years. And I needed more women. I wanted to launch, which we did today, with 51% women in the system. And I needed that. I put it in my email newsletter. We received 600 emails with names. So that really helped. Anyway, thank you very much.
Okay. So, congratulations on the new startup.
Thank you.
Let me ask you this. After all of this soul searching and fasting and meditation, have you come to a conclusion about if startups are actually worth the agonizing pain that we put ourselves under? Is it actually worth it? Do you have a yes/no answer for me?
You want a yes/no?
Well, and then you can expand upon it. But is it worth it? Because it's so damaging psychologically that here in Silicon Valley, people get wrecked by their startup. Then they go to Burning Man, meditation, fasting, kiteboarding, Necker Island.
I've not talked about Burning Man. Thank you for reminding me.
No Burning Man, future, fast future, whatever. Future now. There's a lot of shit going down where people are trying to get themselves recentered, and I think it's because it's such an intense pursuit. Is that your theory as well?
It is. I think life is about, just working hard and trying things. Otherwise, it's just boring, right?
Right.
So you decide what your battle is. Ours is building startups and events.
Yeah.
Some other people's writing books, and so you just decide. But yes, I think it's totally worth it. I think it's fascinating, and it's very comparable to what I'm discussing now, which is basically think of you as the startup. Actually, read Hoffman as a book, a startup of you, right?
Right.
So that's kind of if you are the startup, what do? How do you iterate? But yeah, I think it's totally worth it. But I also think that there is a lot of unheard of people being depressed, people being miserable because they cannot raise funding.
Right.
People failing and not telling you. I know of someone that you know very well, very famous, who would never show up on stage ever again because he failed twice in a row and now he's traumatized.
Because he just failed.
He would never tell anyone.
He fainted.
No, he didn't faint. He would not. No, he failed. Sorry.
Oh, he failed.
Failed his startups twice.
Twice.
And you know him, but he would not. And if you talk to him, he would never write or tell someone about that. But he's traumatized, and so yes, it's really difficult, but I think it's totally worth it. The thing I would add...
But here's the thing, though. Mark Pincus is more successful than you and I put together.
It depends how you define success.
I know. You take a company public. I'm joking. Yeah. I'm joking. I took a random guess, but can it be Mark?
Here's where I am now. Yeah. I think if you think of all the events happening now, so the fires, the hurricanes, did you see that the map for hurricanes didn't reach Ireland? Just because there was never a hurricane reaching to Ireland. Yeah. Did you see this? Like, you always have those animations of the hurricanes becoming bigger. Yeah. So it did not happen. They have to expand the map now.
Right.
Because it never hit
got
Europe, basically.
Right.
And so now it's happening. So anyway, here's the point is, it's so scary now that I think we'll see more and more startups trying to do something for the world. And I think that's a good way to, I wanted to address this during my talk, but I'm looking for that right now.
So as the world gets darker, people will create more light.
Well, we're screwing it up. We are entirely screwing it up, and I've discovered all those things during this journey. Like why, if you ask, so this is a Buddhist meditation retreat, right? Even though it's agnostic, you can be any religion. And they were like, you would have a spider walking on the room, and they would help, move the spider so no one walks on it. And then, of course, vegan food. And I'm like, I'm French, I eat foie gras. It's like, give me a break.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, is we're killing all those animals. So it started growing, and we're destroying that planet. So there's a book I'm reading now, which is How Soon Is Now, from Pinchbeck, who is a burner. And how soon is now? And I think the connection to this is there will be more and more startups who make products that are improving the world instead of making it worse. And you'll buy those products because you know that, or prevent us from, screwing up the world a little more. So,
all right. Give us a tip on stress reduction. If a founder is feeling massive stress, what are some of the things they can do, aside from meditation, which is, I think, the most frequently... Scotch. Drinking, you advise. Just drinking to get rid of the stress. So here you have it. You're not a doctor, but what other tips that you think work for people? Exercise obviously helps.
Exercise helps a lot. I do a lot of kite surfing under that bridge.
Yeah.
But
is that dangerous going under the bridge on a kite? I mean, you can get taken out.
There's a lot of things that can happen. I got rescued, in fact, 2 days ago, again.
Again?
Yeah, all the time.
What happened?
So the thing is, the wind, in this season especially, the wind can shut down really fast. So I was just cruising around, and at 5 the wind stopped. And so you're just, okay.
You're out in the middle of...
I was under the bridge, basically. And the sailboat came by, and I was like this, and said, do you need help? Like, you know what? Yeah. I'll just take some help. But I have a satellite iridium, thing. I have a radio, so you can't kite surf under the Golden Bridge. I would take a radio, a minimum. You call.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's dangerous because you have Chinese huge cargo, Chinese or not Chinese, but coming from China. Generally.
Right.
Huge cargo boats. You have a lot of current that can take you out.
Yeah. And they saw a great white shark there too, recently.
Well, those are no. Yeah, we were kiting with whales recently, but those are no. The probability to get bitten by a shark is less than a coconut falling on you on the beach.
Sure.
So I just don't think about it. Yeah, they're around. We know that. But
the chance of getting hit by a coconut, though, in San Francisco is 0. Just technically speaking, unless somebody throws it. But I mean,
right. If you go to Hawaii, maybe a little more. But not in this season. But as April to October, I highly recommend you go 5 p.m., 5:30 in Crissy Fields. You'll see about a community of about 50 hydrofoil kite surfers, and we race around.
Oh, you do the hydrofoil too.
Yeah. 20,
I got up for the first time this year on a on a kiteboard, and that was the most amazing 12 seconds of my life ever. It was unbelievable, the rush. I was like, I want to do this more, and then the wind died.
You swim back then. It's okay.
Yeah, but it was incredible. It's a peak
things.
Experience.
You have 2 things you should try if you live in San Francisco. You have to try it. So you tried one, and you can learn in Alameda. It's very safe.
Yeah.
I wouldn't try under
in Alameda. Yeah.
Yeah, Alameda is very safe. There's a beach, no coconuts. So.
Yeah.
And the second thing you should try is paragliding. 20 minutes away from here in Pacifica, you can just launch a paraglide and fly, which I do very often too. And
I saw you doing this in the Swiss Alps or somewhere.
Yeah.
It looks extremely dangerous. Is that dangerous?
No. This is not like free fall. This is not.
You're not base jumping. You're just running off a cliff.
It's very, very.
With the parachute already deployed.
True. It's very calm. You should see. I'll take you on a tandem or something.
Yeah.
But it's.
Well, in one you jump off and then you open the chute.
You don't jump. You run and
the chute's open.
You start flying, and then you jump off a cliff. Yeah, at one point.
Technically, in both, you're technically jumping off a cliff in both.
Yes.
One with the parachute deployed, one
you fly over water, the other one is, So, but for your fun, I was in Paris last week. I enjoy going back there. And people are like, so, we have this new president, Macron, and it's like a new tax, removing the wealth tax. The capital gains is only 30% there. This is better than here now.
Right.
I've been here 11 years.
Yeah.
The tax in France is better than...
Who would have guessed?
Yeah. Amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah. So anyway, everybody's like, come back. Why don't you come back? And those are the 2 reasons I always say is I cannot kite surf and paraglide at 5 p.m. after being in my office.
Right. Those are the last things left.
Yeah.
All right, let's hear it for Louis.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, my friend. It was great. Good job.